All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Harvest Moon Farm, and if you are new to my channel, my name is Mickey, and I make videos twice a week. I put them out generally on Tuesdays and Fridays. I do a lot of cooking and baking. Now that our weather's warming up, I'm starting to do more gardening. We'll do more with animals. So today we are going to make our Copycat Godfather Cinnamon Streusel Dessert Pizza. Of course, we're not going to just eat dessert pizza, although it's a wonderful pizza. I could just eat it all by itself. My husband, however, would like a little more protein with his food, so we're going to make a regular pizza as well, because that makes sense, right? So, I do not have any pepperoni or Italian sausage, which I don't really like Italian sausage. My husband does. So I have some bacon that's already cooked, and I got out a pound of hamburger. I'm just going to brown that up, and we'll use the ground beef and the bacon as our toppings, and then we'll see what else we've got in the fridge that we can add to that. So we're going to get started cooking up our ground beef. And actually, the first thing we're going to do is preheat our oven. We want to preheat this to 500, but then when we get ready to cook our pizza, we will turn it down. We're just going to put it at 500 to start our... So we want to preheat our stone, our pizza stone, in the oven while it's preheating. So we'll stick that in there. And now we will start working on our ground beef. While this cooks, or while this starts cooking, I need to run downstairs and grab a jar of our pizza sauce. So we're going to let that start cooking, and I'll be right back. So the last several days here, I am about an hour south of the Kansas City Metro on the Kansas side, and the last several days it has been so muggy. It was in the 90s Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Today is Monday. Wait, today is Tuesday. Oh my gosh. Yesterday was not quite as hot, but it was more muggy. I worked out in the garden for a little while yesterday, and I was just, you know, a drippy mess when I was done, even though I wasn't out there very long. The humidity and temperature has dropped some today, but we have a huge storm rolling in, so it's starting to get to the, to our west. It's starting to get really, really dark. The sky's kind of purple and dark gray, and so hopefully my husband gets home and gets his car in the garage before the storm hits, because we're supposed to get hail. My car's in the garage. Alright, so we're going to just cook this hamburger. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Ground beef is just about done, and then I'm just going to put it in this bowl until we need it when we get ready to start putting our pizza together. So the wind's starting to really pick up, so. Alright, so like I said, I've got some pre-cooked bacon here. I don't think that we're going to need all of this. So I'll put the rest of this back in the freezer, and we'll see what else we've got in there. There's some other things that we like to eat on our pizza as well. Okay, I did find a little bit of pizza sauce left in my refrigerator from the last time we made pizza, so I'll start with that. It won't be enough, but it'll be enough to get us started. So all I'm going to do is cut these strips of bacon up into smaller pieces. I think some onion. Okay, I did not find the onion, so I don't know if we used it all or what. But we do like these mild banana pepper rings on our pizza as well. Okay, so I've got some pizza dough left over from the last time we made pizza. And I hope this is 2. I thought it was 2 pieces. Let me get this out of here. All right, I'm going to get just a little bit of flour on my counter so that I can keep it from sticking. Actually, I'm going to use a little bit of cornmeal instead. So I'm gonna divide this. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, it's sticking to everything. All right. We're gonna divide this dough in half. And we're gonna do half for our dinner pizza and half for our dessert pizza. And I'm going to let that pan keep heating while I roll out this pizza dough here into our pizza pan. And this will be for the dessert pizza so that we don't, so we've got a little bit of an edge on here so that our toppings don't fall. This might only be actually dough for 1 pizza. I might have used 2 pieces of the last one and just don't remember. But we'll go ahead and roll this piece out because I want to let my pan keep heating, or my pizza stone keep heating, while we try and roll this out as much as possible. I have a thin spot there, though I don't want that. So I talked about this, on my last video. I grew up with Godfather's Pizza. They were all over the Kansas City area until, I don't know, maybe the last 8 or 10 years they started disappearing slowly. The last one that was relatively close to me has been gone about maybe 5 years. And I was so sad because I love their pizza, but their dessert pizza is amazing. So when I found this recipe, I was super excited to try it and see if I can make it taste the way that it tasted at Godfather's. When my boys were little, we lived in an apartment that was really close to a Godfather's Pizza, and some nights we would just order the dessert pizza and then we'd eat whatever we had at the house, but we would order the dessert pizza. So good. Okay, so I'm just going to set this to the side for now, and I'm going to start working on our dinner pizza. And I've turned our oven down to 450 now. The stone is really hot. I'm going to put some cornmeal on here. And then we are going to kind of press out and roll out cornmeal in my nose. Press out and roll out our pizza dough for this one into a rectangular shape. And I will link this pizza dough recipe in the description box, as well as the dessert pizza recipe. I've made this pizza several times, and this is one of the best homemade dough recipes that I've ever tried. So that one actually rolled out pretty nicely. All right. So we'll get a spoon. Wow, it's really dark outside now. So we'll start with this sauce that's left. And my sauce is not as thick as it could be. Oh, maybe this is the only one I'm going to need, actually. It's not super thin, but it's probably not as thick as it really needs to be. It tastes really good. You just have to be careful. I pre-made some pizzas and froze them, and the sauce kind of starts running because it's so thin. Okay, and I actually did not need to open the other one. And so I'm glad I found this one in the refrigerator, because I would hate to have two open in the fridge, because that always feels so full. I usually don't use it all. Okay, cheese, let's see. I keep my cheese in the freezer because we don't use mozzarella as fast as other cheeses. So maybe I should have gotten it out sooner and let some of it thaw a little bit, but we're gonna make it work. So I'm going to put a little layer of cheese on here first, assuming I can get enough to layer it. It's not in a big hunk like that. Okay. And now I'm just going to add our toppings. So just going to sprinkle some ground beef on here. And since I'm only making one pizza, I probably won't use this whole pound of ground beef. That would be a lot of meat. But I'll just put this, I'll either stick it in the refrigerator and we can use it for something later this week, or I'll probably freeze it. I'm going to be out of town next week, so I want to make sure my husband has things to eat, but I don't want to have a bunch of stuff in the refrigerator that he's not going to be able to get through by himself in a week. Okay, so that was about half of that. So then I'm going to sprinkle our bacon over the top. Try not to burn myself. I'm going to put a few of these peppers on here, if I can get a hold of them. I just really like the flavor that this gives to pretty much anything. We always put these in our chili as well. And I always save the juice. If I have juice left without any of the peppers, I save it specifically for my chili, and I'll just pour the juice in my chili. Okay, so there's that. And I forgot I wanted to put a little Italian seasoning on the crust. Forgot to do that, so that's okay. We'll just put it on top of all of this. like that. And then we're going to add some more cheese. Let's see, looks like there's a little bit right over on this edge. Alright, so this will go back in the freezer. We're going to put this in the oven at 450 and we are going to let it bake about 12 to 15 minutes. I believe that's the time. I'm going to set it for 12 and just double check. It might be a little longer than that, but I just want to make sure that I don't overcook it. Okay, so now let me wipe all this up and we can get back to our dessert pizza. Alright, so here we've got our crust for our dessert pizza. First thing we want to do is we want to stab this with a fork to perforate it. Excuse you, pup. Excuse you, puppy. We just want to make sure that this doesn't bubble up too much as it cooks. There are pieces of this crust that are a little thin, so I hope I don't have problems because of that. Okay, now we need a tablespoon of butter, and we're going to melt it, and then we're going to brush that on, and then we're going to sprinkle it all with cinnamon. So I've got some butter here that I've had sitting out. Oh, it is definitely softened. So we'll just put this back in our little dish. All right, so I'm going to put this in the microwave and we're going to let it melt, and then we're going to spread it around our crust. And the butter is to not only add flavor, but it's also going to help our toppings stick a little better. It does not say how much cinnamon, so I'm just gonna sprinkle it until I feel like it looks good. Uh-oh, the wind's blowing stuff over. Go close down a window a little bit. So here is how it's looking out here. Really windy. Cooled down a lot too. But the clouds are kind of scary looking. We've got some lightning, got a little bit of thunder. So anyway, we'll go back in and finish our pizza now. Alright, so now that the wind's not threatening to blow everything out of the living room, I think I want to add just a little more cinnamon. It's not really well covered. And you can do however much or little cinnamon that you want, obviously. All right. So then we're going to make our streusel. And for our streusel, we need 1/3 cup of white sugar and 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And I'm going to double the streusel because I always felt like, well, I shouldn't say always. Sometimes I felt like it didn't have enough streusel on it. The Godfathers that I went to when my boys were little, there was one guy who worked there who always knew, and I think I just did that wrong. No, I didn't. Who always knew how to make them. He knew how I liked them, and when I would go in, he would make them the way that I really liked. So we're going to double this. There we go. And then we need some flour, shortening, and oil. We are going to do, okay, this is weird, 1/2 plus 1/3. Let me just make sure I didn't miss something. Oh, okay. So we're gonna do 1, because like I said, we're doubling it. So there's 1 cup. Plus 2/3. Alright, there's our flour. 4 tablespoons of shortening and 4 tablespoons of oil. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Our shortening and our oil. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close enough. Okay. So now you can mix this with a fork, with your hands, with whatever works. I'm going to start with this pastry cutter and try and get it mixed in a little bit, and then I'm going to go in and finish it with my hands, I think, because I think that'll be the best way. And I might have, maybe should have used a bigger bowl. Okay. So we just want to work this until it's, you know, a pea-sized crumble. Mix everything in. Hope we don't lose power because my stove is electric. That'd be bad if I couldn't make my pizza. And our dinner pizza is, the first timer is just about to go off, so I'm going to go check that and see if it's ready to take out or if we need to let it go a little longer. Actually think our pizza might be done. Alright, so there is our dinner pizza. It looks delicious. Smells amazing. So I'm just going to leave that sitting on top of the stove, and then we're going to finish up our dessert pizza and get it in the oven. I've never dirtied so many dishes making a pizza before. It's crazy. Alright, so now, alright, so we just want to spread this. Oh my goodness, this does look like Godfathers. You want to spread this all over our pizza. And I know you probably may not want to double yours, but that's the way I like it. Because sometimes I would get them and it basically was just like cinnamon toast. I'm like, well, that's no good. Alright. Wipe up some of this mess here. Okay, so we are going to, we need to bake this at 460 degrees, which seems a little odd. I've never had anything bake at 460 before. So I'm going to turn that up. Okay, our oven is preheated to 460 now. So we're going to stick this in. We're going to bake it just 8 or 9 minutes. So I'm just going to put this ground beef in a little baggie and stick it in the freezer. Getting muggy in the house again now. I had turned the air on yesterday because it got to a point where it was just too muggy, even with fans on me. So I turned it back off this afternoon because the temperature had dropped so much. Now it's muggy because of the rain. Okay, so my dishwasher is full, and I put the soap in it, and as soon as we're done today, then I will go ahead and start it. I don't want to start it while we're filming because it's really loud. It's hard to hear. And I've noticed over just the last couple of days, we have had a lot of, we call them gal nappers. I don't know what they're actually called, They're big, light, you know, they're not a heavy bug. They're big and they have long, thin legs and they fly around. And we've had like, I don't know, right outside our front, there's been a million of them. They've been getting in the house, and I don't know that I've ever seen them this early. But anyway, so we have a lot of them. So I don't know what you guys call them. If you guys could put in the comments, if you know what I'm talking about, if you could tell me what you guys call them, and if you've seen a bunch of them. I don't know if it's because it got so warm all of a sudden or what. So our dessert pizza is about half done. It's got about 4 more minutes, and it is really raining out there now. So far no hail, at least not right here, so hopefully my husband makes it home before it starts if it's going to. So we use the Find My Friends app so I can see, oh good, it looks like he's getting close to home. He's about 15 minutes away, so that's good. So one thing I could be doing while that finishes baking is making our frosting. So we need a cup of powdered sugar. I'm just going to eyeball it because I just put my measuring cup in the dishwasher. We're going to call that good. And we want to add half a teaspoon of vanilla and milk to just make it the consistency that you want. We'll put a little vanilla in there, and then just a little milk, and we're just going to stir that up. And then if we need it to be thinner, we can add more milk. If we want it thicker, we can add a little more powdered sugar. Alright, so let's check that and see how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one last minute. And we want our frosting to be drizzling consistency. This is a little thick. Whoops. So I'm just going to add actually just a little bit of cream because it's easier for me to pour in a small amount. Stir that up. So there we go. I think that's perfect. All right, so here is how this looks coming right out of the oven. And you can drizzle frosting on here however you want. Godfathers always did it in a circle. Mine's not going to end up very much in a circle because I maybe needed to thin this out a little bit more. Oh, there we go. Okay, it looks like a Godfather's Dessert Pizza. So I hope that it also tastes like a Godfather's Dessert Pizza. I'm so excited. Got just a little bit of frosting left. Go ahead and just drizzle it around on here. Oops. All right. So here is how this looks. So we're going to give this a try once we eat our dinner pizza. So I'll be back after my husband gets home and we eat and we're ready to test out our dessert pizza, and we'll let you guys know how it is. Okay, so I cut a couple pieces of this dessert pizza, so I'm gonna give it a try. It looks like Godfather's. Oh, my topping just fell off. That's what happens with Godfather's too. I feel like it's missing something. Not sure what it is though. Maybe it needed cinnamon in the topping, or maybe I should have used butter instead of shortening. Still good, but not quite the Godfather's taste that I was going for. So, what do you think about this? I can't figure out what the flavor is that's missing. Oh well, it's still good. I'm still gonna eat it. Maybe a little more cinnamon, not sure. Okay, so it was driving me crazy that my dessert pizza did not turn out the way I wanted it to. So I've been thinking about it ever since I made that one that I didn't really like. So I remade it, but for my topping, I used the same recipe, except I used 4 tablespoons of butter instead of the 2 tablespoons of shortening. I did go ahead and use about a tablespoon of oil, maybe a tablespoon and a half. I added some cinnamon to the mix, and I also added some salt, and I think that is what did a lot of it. I added about a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half of salt. So it tasted good while I was, before I started it. So I've got it done now. I'm going to take a bite of this and see what I think. That's it. Oh my goodness, that is so good. Oh, not sure if my crust is done. Let me see. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Oh my gosh, that is so much better. The other was just really bland. So when I had put the recipe, I'll put the original recipe linked below, but I will also put in the description box what I did instead. So if anybody wants to try it, they can try it both ways. To me, this tastes more like the actual Godfather's dessert pizza, their cinnamon streusel dessert, than the one I made the other day. But ooh, this one is really good. So I'm glad I tried it again. I'm glad that I was thinking about it and tried to come up with a way to make it taste more like what I remembered. So I think I've done it. So I just wanted to add that to this dessert pizza clip here before I forgot about it and before I ate all this, because it's really good.